Hello everyone and welcome to the Rovers Report, where in today's video I'll be speaking with Northampton fan Matt from Cobblers Vlogs ahead of the crucial game this weekend for Bristol Rovers. The idea of this video is to give Rovers fans a bit of insight into the Northampton team and to give some advice as to where to go for a drink before and after the game. Hope you enjoy it and find it useful. Obviously I'm very new to this, so I appreciate any constructive criticism, but yeah, enjoy. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Rovers Report, where today we are joined by Matt from Cobblers Vlogs ahead of the massive promotion 6 points this weekend. So Matt, how are you feeling about it? Are you confident?
Bit of both, confident and nervous. You got to be confident because of the league position we're in. We're second in the league. You're seventh. We're higher in the league than you, but there's second and seventh. I think it is that right. Is nothing at the moment in League Two. It's 3 points, isn't it? So confident and nervous. These games always bring around nerves. There'll be a big away following, I'm sure, as you guys always bring to us, and probably even boosted by the fact it's a promotion 6 pointer, if you like. So confident and nervous at the same time. You're always going to be nervous for big games like these.
Yeah, I think that's a fairly accurate assessment for me as well. Actually, I think we're coming off of some very good form, but obviously, like you said, there is that doubt. You're in second. You're there for a reason. So I think it's set up to be a brilliant game, actually. But just the first question, as a Northampton fan, what are your sort of general thoughts on Bristol Rovers as a club? Maybe our fan base. Is there anything that sticks out in particular for you?
Yeah, I'd say the two clubs are very similar. Obviously, Bristol's a much bigger and probably better city. Northampton's not even a city; it's a town. So, I've always, they're one of those clubs that I don't really have a positive or negative opinion on for either reason. The biggest memory I have is back in 2016. We played you at home. We were going for promotion, and I think we drew 2-2, and I think we were 2-0 up. I'm not too sure. Probably should have checked that, but yeah, we were 2-0 up, I think, and you brought it back to 2-2. But the point was enough to see us get promoted, and that was when I got on the pitch, probably for the first time as a Cobblers fan, or one of the first times that I can remember. I remember seeing John Joe O'Toole as well, and just kind of grabbing him and just held my phone up like that and got a photo with him, which was also pretty cool. So yeah, that was a big memory. The Irene chant that you sing as well is always a big one. That always sounds quite good. When there's 1,000 or so of you in our way and singing that in full voice always sounds good. But no particularly strong feelings about towards you in either way, to be honest. But yeah, like I said, similar sized clubs and both. Well, two clubs that should be in League One. I've heard the "You'll Always Be on League" chant sang at you plenty of times at Sixfields, but I can't say I've ever. Well, I may have joined you once or twice, but I've never really felt that way, to be fair.
I'll let you off, mate. I'll let you off. But I think that's true, isn't it? And we seem to have, over the last couple of years, always sort of been in and around each other. I think a particular game for me that sticks out is at Sixfields when we beat you 6-0. I think would have been.
I'm not one for leaving games early, but I'm pretty sure I did that day. It must have been really late on, at the start of stoppage time. But I think my dad probably left like 10 minutes early. I don't sit with him in the ground. I sit with my mates, and he goes off and sits with his. So he was at the car, just like, "What are you doing? Why were you in there for so long?" That was not good. I can't remember if it was 6-1 or 6-0. I think it probably was 6-0, wasn't it? I just remember there was one point where Alex Ravel scored a chip against you, and I can't remember if it was that game or if it was a different game. But yeah, I certainly remember that one for all the wrong reasons.
But it may have been 6-1, but there was definitely 6 for us. So for me, that was all. For Rovers fans watching this and ahead of the weekend, do you want to just give a sort of summary of your form as of late?
Yeah, so it's been weird. Before Christmas we were absolutely fantastic, and we're winning games, left, right, and centre. Then we had a massive COVID break, as I think most teams did around Christmas. We came back, played Swindon on New Year's Day, and lost 5-2, and it was just so unexpected. It was a competitive first half. I think we even went 2-1 up in that game after going 1-0 down, and then Swindon just tore us just tore us apart and beat us 5-2. And then ever since then, it's kind of been up and down. We've struggled against some of the teams that are down at the bottom, which I don't really understand. I think maybe because teams sit in against us and we like to counter attack, maybe. But but yeah, it's been okay. We obviously lost to Carlisle at the weekend in the last minute. I've got a mate from Carlisle, and I went up with him, and seeing him after the game wasn't nice. The look on his face was one to forget. And then we played Stevenage on Tuesday night, who are one of those teams down at the bottom that we've been kind of struggling against, and we did essentially. That game should have been over in 25 minutes. And it wasn't. Stevenage got one back through Chris Lines, who we both will remember for good reasons, probably more good reasons for you guys than for us. But they got one back through him and made it nervier than it should have been. So yeah, these big games we seem to step up. We had our anniversary game against Tranmere, not last weekend, the weekend before, first weekend of March it was. And we really stepped up for that one. We were 3-0 up after 60, 70 minutes, something like that. Tranmere pulled it back. Pulled two back to make it a bit nervous, but we looked fairly comfortable in that game anyway. So yeah, we seem to step up in the bigger games and maybe struggle against the smaller side. So that kind of, you asked me if I was confident earlier. I suppose that does give me a bit more confidence, knowing that we're playing in one of those big games where we usually step up, and we've had better crowds as well this season for those kind of games as well.
Yeah, that obviously helps. And as you said, this is a huge game this weekend. And so who would Northampton fans be looking to at the weekend to sort of step up, and who have been your key players over the season?
You'd be surprised to hear me say the centre backs. We've been really good from set pieces this season. I'll say to you in a second, how are you from defending set pieces? But Pinnock and Libala. Libala we signed in January, who's kind of slowly getting up to match fitness. He looked dangerous on Tuesday night against Stevenage. He got an assist against Carlisle last weekend. Pinnock, the club have labelled him Postman Pinnock. Because he's been getting that many assists. I think he's probably second in the league behind that guy at Forest Green and Kane Wilson, I think it is. So yeah, he's also been chipping in with some goals as well. And Sam Hoskins, who I'm sure you'll probably be familiar with from playing us plenty of times down the years, he would have played in that match in 2016. That's how long he's been here. If he sees out his contract, it'll have been here 9 years. So he's getting close to testimonial range, which is unbelievable. So yeah, Sam Hoskins as well, but Pinnock probably the main one for me. And the fullbacks, Ali Koiki probably won't feature, but Aaron McGowan's one of the best crossers in the league as well. We're calling him the Scouse Cafu at the minute. He's got a fantastic goal on Tuesday night against Stevenage. It was a volley that cross that came in. It was headed out to him, and he just low hard on the half volley. Stuck it in the bottom left corner. It was a brilliant goal. But yeah, the two centre backs from set pieces and McGowan and Pinnock in terms of their delivery. But what are you like from set pieces? That's the big question for us, because if you're any good at them, we probably won't stand a chance.
We're not too bad, actually. I mean, our goalkeeper, James Belshaw, he's quite small for a goalkeeper. So that might be an area that you could sort of get on top of him.
Yeah.
But both of our centre-backs, they're only 20, both low knees, but they're physically strong and demanding in the air. So I'd say, yeah, I think we're quite comfortable at set pieces, but we'll see on Saturday, won't we?
Yeah, there was a point for us where we went, I think, 7 games without scoring from open play. Like all of our goals came from set pieces. I think that was kind of in January time, which is just unbelievable if you think about it.
And were you picking up wins as well whilst doing
I think
that?
so, yeah. Mainly, yeah.
I mean, that is League Two, isn't it, for you?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
If you were part of the Rovers coaching team and you were to sort of look at the weaknesses of that Northampton side, where would you pinpoint that, would you say?
Yeah, well, I mentioned Ali Koiki earlier, he's been good at left back for us, and I know we're going to talk about him a bit more in a minute, but he's currently injured at the moment, or went off on Tuesday, so I think it's unlikely he'll feature on Saturday. So I'd definitely go for our left-hand side where Joseph Mills is. He was injured for a lot of last season for us. I'm trying to think who actually stepped in there last season for us, because Koiki wasn't here. But anyway, that's irrelevant now. Mills he's been injured for most of this season as well. I think he broke his ankle at Crawley or something like that back in October. So yeah, he's been injured for a long time. He's not up to match sharpness. And the game against Stevenage turned on Tuesday night when Koiki went off and Mills came on. Stevenage, you could tell with the pace of Elliott List, they targeted that kind of left back area. So I think get down that flank and get past Mills, and Hoskins I think usually plays on that side as well. He's not the best defensively. He'll work hard, but he's not the best defensive player in the world. Now I see Mills as more of a wing back than a left back. So yeah, I'd definitely go down for that left hand side. If you're going to play long balls forward or try from set pieces, then Horsfall and Guthrie would just be equal to it.
I'll let Joey Barton know. You touched on Ali Koki there, and he played for us during that sort of the weird COVID period. And amongst Rovers fans, he was a bit of a contentious figure, just in the sense that we never really knew what sort of player he was. He didn't ever get a good run of games, so is because I've seen that he plays at left back for you, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Would you say that that's his best position, or do you think? For me, I always found him to be a bit more of an attacking player, but he featured at left back more prominently for you there.
He's pretty much played there all season, yeah. Since Mills was injured, I think he was brought in as the backup initially, and since Mills was injured, we've had no other choice but to play him there. We've got Michael Harriman; he's not played at all this season. He's a right back, and has filled in a couple of times, in, you know, the Pizza Cup and all that kind of stuff. But I remember when we signed him, I think he must have come straight from you, or came from somewhere else first. Yeah, I remember seeing kind of Bristol Rovers fans saying, "Yeah, we don't really know who he is." Like, you know, now you've said that, I remember seeing it. I think he's better as a winger for me. I don't want to compare him to Premier League players, but he's a little bit like a Trent Alexander-Arnold, good going forward, gets some good crosses in, will beat a man if he wants to, but not particularly great at the back. He's been at fault for a couple of goals this season. That game against Carlisle on Saturday, he gave away a free kick, which they then whipped in and Horsfall handballed it to give away the penalty. But yeah, you could say that free kick probably should have gone our way, but Ali Koiki still probably gave away the first foul before he was fouled, if that kind of makes sense. And he's been at fault a couple of times. So yeah, I would love to see Mills back fit, playing at left back, you know, at his best, and then seeing maybe Koiki push further up the pitch. But there's also competition for our wide positions, as I mentioned earlier, with Pinnock, Labala and Hoskins as well. But yeah, I'd say he's more of a winger or a wing back than a left back.
Yeah, it sounds like your fans feel similarly to how a lot of Rovers fans felt. But for any Rovers fans travelling up on the weekend, is there anywhere around the ground that you'd recommend for pubs or food or entertainment, things like that?
Yeah, well, I've been to plenty of League Two grounds this season, and there's just been nothing near them. So I think ours is one of the ones where you can actually do stuff. It's not necessarily at the ground; it's more kind of in the surrounding area. There's a massive retail park at the top of the hill. It's got a couple of pubs, the Walter Toe and what's the other one called, the Sixfields Tavern. They're both there. The Walter Toe will probably be a bit more lively. The Sixfields Tavern will probably be a bit more lively. Both will show whatever the lunchtime game is at the weekend. I have no idea what it is, whether it's the Championship or if, I'm sure there's a Premier League one. There's a 10-pin bowl in there as well if you want to get there early and, you know, have a bit of bowling. Or there's classic arcades in there and pool tables, darts boards, you know, everything you'd expect. And then you've got all the kind of fast food places, KFC, McDonald's. I think there's even a Five Guys that's opened up there recently. And Taco Bell as well, which I walked in, smelt what it was like in there and walked straight back out again. But if that's what you like, then go for it. And then at the ground there's the Cars Bar, which has been a bit strange recently, because they seem to be letting in some away fans for some games, but maybe not for others. I suspect because you're probably going to be one of the biggest followings that come here this season, they may not open it for away fans. It might just be home fans only, but you know, you go down there, give it a try. There's always a good atmosphere in there. But if you turned away, don't be surprised. I think there's a bar behind the away end as well once you're in the ground. And then there's a chicken balti pie that the Cobblers do, which for me doesn't work or taste good. That's kind of the only pie flavour we do now. We used to do like meat and potato and, you know, all the other kind of classic stuff that you'd expect. But the chicken balti one's is a strange one for me. But be interested to hear what Rovers fans think if they give it a try on Saturday.
Well, yeah, for me, that's my go-to choice of pie, so I couldn't disagree with you more. But, I've been to food a few times, and granted, it has helped that we've won when we've been there, but I've always found it quite a pleasant experience. And I know there was actually in COVID, because you've got that hill, haven't you, that overlooks the stadium.
Yeah.
I remember. I think it was because I think that was a relegation 6 point, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was 1-1, something like that.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think about 5 or 6 of our fans actually travelled up.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, sat there drinking Thatcher's gold, and because I think we might have scored a late equaliser or something, and the players ran over to the fans on the hills.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Only positive moments of that season, really. So.
Yeah, I remember
But,
thinking. I remember what I thought of those 5 or 6 that travelled there after that. Yeah, I remember a few years ago we played. I think it was probably 2016, 17, something like that. We played Man United in the Carabao Cup, and I remember being in the stands and looking up, and like the hill was just full of people that had come to see Mourinho's Man United at the time. But it's not the best view in the world. They wouldn't have seen that goal. The North Stand would have been blocking it because I think that's where they scored it. But yeah, it's certainly good fun, and I think there were a few fans that did that. I think even some Sunderland fans came down, that far to see their team. I think that ended 0-0 as well. But yeah, it was certainly interesting to see the club's most loyal fans last season on top of the hill. We usually got a picture of them every time they were there, and yeah, I certainly remember that happening. So I'm not encouraging you to travel without a ticket or try and watch the game for free, but if you can't get in, then it's certainly a decent alternative.
because I think Rovers are about 50 odd as of today from selling out the allocation, so there may be a few fans on the hill, but it's all set up, mate. So finally, just before we finish, can I ask you for a prediction?
Yeah, no problem. The only other thing I would say is that it's good to hear there's going to be a big following, because it means there'll be a good atmosphere this season. Because clubs don't bring that many, we've now decided to close that stand behind the goal and put them in like the end block of the East Stand. And because our main kind of singers are in the West Stand, right next to where that South Stand is, shouting across the pitch, you can't hear anything. There's no kind of back and forth between the fans, so it'd be good to have them close by. But yeah, going back to the question, the prediction. All our games have been won by 1 or 2 goals this season. I can't think of many games where we've won by more than 2. So I'll go 2-1 with the Cobblers. A lot of opposition fans come on opposition channels and predict their team to lose. I don't know why. So yeah, I'll go for 2-1 for the Cobblers. I'll go with 2 set pieces as well, 2 headers from corners. That'd be nice.
I think I'm going to go for a 3-1. Have you heard about Elliot Anderson, who's come on loan from? Yeah. He is formed, and I fancy him to get a couple. So 3-1 for me. I'm just
glad Ellis Harrison isn't playing for you anymore, because he never seemed to score ever against anyone else, but he always popped up against us. I think he even scored a couple in that 6-0.
Yeah, I think he did. I loved Ellis Harrison, mate, and obviously side. But we shall see, and it's all set to be a great game. Thank you very much, Matt, for coming. I'll leave all your stuff in the description below, so make sure you guys go and check him out. Excellent, mate. Thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you. Cheers.